So guys, we got some big news regarding the NBA possible expansion. I did a video on this a few months ago about 20 teams that could get an NBA expansion team, and Adam Silver, in an interview after the NBA Finals yesterday, came out and said that the NBA will turn to expansion after media rights discussions next spring. So we're developing an actual timeline for an NBA expansion team, and I really think that there are three legitimate viable options when you look at the arena situation of all these cities vying for an expansion team. I'm going to go through a top 10 that was recently released in March, give my thoughts on it because there are some interesting cities, but you see immediately Seattle and Vegas start trending on Twitter after Adam Silver says this. It's the biggest elephant in the room, those two cities, the overwhelming favorites, but I do think there is a third dark horse that makes a ton of sense when you look at their current situation with sports franchises in North America, the demand, the market. We're going to get to that. Let's take a look at the list, though. You can see this coming out in March. 10 favorite NBA expansion teams. 2023 edition. Anaheim, California coming in at number 10. The reasoning, they're saying Anaheim was so close to having an NBA team back in 2011 that would have relocated Sacramento. There was also talk about Sacramento going back to Seattle, but, Anaheim coming in at number 10 on this list, I would say a long shot. To me, Anaheim, they need to worry about the Angels and either getting a big renovation to Angel Stadium or getting a brand new stadium there. It is a big market. To be fair, their MLB team does draw fairly well, and another team in California wouldn't hurt because California is so big and it's always going to have a huge market. But to me, it kind of seems like it's almost too much. And then they reference the Honda Center. See, that's a big turnoff for me, especially when you compare some of these other potential expansion cities and what they offer in terms of arena. The Honda Center is very subpar. For the Ducks, for an NHL team, for an NBA team. How about number 9, Hampton Roads, Virginia? In 2017, an NBA editor rated Hampton Roads as 4th in line for an NBA expansion team. Surprisingly, Hampton Roads ranked 1st across all markets for a percentage of TVs turned in to watch NBA games. So I haven't even heard of Hampton Roads. This would be a complete shock to me, but yes, at some point, presumably, I would say Virginia Beach or Richmond does need a professional sports team. Virginia is the biggest state in terms of population that does not have a single professional sports team in North America. And what I mean by that is no NBA, no NFL, no MLB, no NHL. So there is a huge demand there. You've got a big population that would probably all be rooting for this team and giving you TV ratings. Overall, I think the state of Virginia would do better with an MLB franchise than an NBA one. So I would say that's a low chance of happening. Montreal, Canada, I just don't see it. I understand you want to break into another market. Canada is huge. All they have is the Raptors right now. Put another team up there. It makes complete sense. But I don't see it with Montreal. There's been talk of Montreal possibly getting an MLB team, but that's kind of died down recently. I think that's a really big long shot. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So this is a kind of a dark horse. Pittsburgh having the Steelers, great fan base. They've also got the Pirates. PNC Park is great, but they have had low attendance. A lot of that is due to how bad the Pirates are. I would say there's a low chance of this happening because I don't see the NBA taking a risk when you look at the Pirates' attendance history, but they do have a good fan base there. Again, the Steelers, so many diehard fans. Pittsburgh's a big enough city that would be able to sustain an NBA team and really support it. Kansas City, Missouri at number 6. I don't see it. I think Kansas City is focused right now on getting the Royals a new stadium. Also, there's been a lot of talks of Kansas City possibly getting a relocation NHL team. So I would say Kansas City pretty low on the list in terms of NBA expansion right now, in my opinion. Mexico City at number 5. I definitely see the NBA trying to play games in Mexico City, but there is no way with that altitude the NBA would go there. If you guys don't know, Mexico City is 2,000 feet higher than Denver, Colorado. And you already hear everyone with the Denver, Nuggets being in the finals, they're complaining about the altitude. It would only get 3 or 4 times worse going to Mexico City, playing games there. The players would not like it. You can do it once a year or twice a year as a neutral site game. There would be a huge market, but the MLB has had this exact problem of trying to expand to Mexico City. Even worse for the MLB because, the altitude has an effect on the overall travel of the baseball. It would be just a complete hitter's haven. And with the NBA, guys get out of breath, things like that. 2,000 feet higher than Denver. That seems very unrealistic. Vancouver, Canada, says Vancouver is the 3rd largest North American market with only one major professional sports team. So, yeah, Vancouver is kind of similar to Montreal in my opinion, but I would put it higher because they have a bigger, population center. Gives it a huge advantage over other NBA expansion teams. They're saying money is one of the biggest reason Vancouver can be the next expansion team. Again, I think the NBA is perfectly fine with, one team being in Canada because you're funneling all that support to the Raptors and there's a lot of demand and a lot of TV ratings for them. I feel like it would just split in 2 if you added a team in Montreal or Vancouver. So it feels like you're kind of, doing something that really won't add many fans, maybe a few fans, but there's better expansion opportunities rather than splitting 2 fan bases. Have Canada root for one team, just like the MLB has it right now with Toronto. At number 3, and this is the big 3 team, and this is the big 3 cities that I want to talk about. Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville is among the favorites for an NBA expansion team. They do have a small market, but it is bigger than New Orleans and Memphis. New Orleans with the Pelicans, the thought process with them, by the way, if Vegas and Seattle are the 2 NBA expansion teams, they would both be in the Western Conference, and the New Orleans Pelicans would move to the Eastern Conference. New Orleans does need to do something with their arena immediately. Smoothie King, it's horrible, but that's another story for another day. I think Louisville, with where they are right now, they've got the KFC Yum Center. It would immediately be one of, if not the biggest arena in the NBA in terms of capacity. Louisville basketball, the fan base there, even though it's a small market, which I think could turn off the NBA in terms of TV ratings, that is a loyal fan base just dying for professional sports. And Louisville, to me, for the NBA, that is the one big dark horse outside of the big top 2 right now because of the demand for a professional sports team, specifically with all of the fans, of the Louisville basketball program. I think they went like 3-29 last year, though. I mean, they were horrible, but normally they're really good. And then also you have the KFC Yum Center, which is just a high-level arena that hosts Louisville, the college basketball team, but it seats a crazy amount. It looks like an NBA arena, and it would probably immediately be like a top 12 or 13 NBA arena if Louisville does get an expansion team. And then the top 2, they have Las Vegas sitting at number 2. You could really put them at 1 or 2. I think the most interesting discussion with Las Vegas right now, can they really support all of this? It's going to have to be through tourism. You already have the Raiders who have gone there. You've got the Golden Knights in the NHL. You've got the idea of the Athletics moving from the MLB. Can Las Vegas, as small as it is, support 4 professional sports teams in the same city? It definitely is a question. I think they would go right to T-Mobile Arena. I understand, and I actually did a video on the AllNet Resort that supposedly broke ground. I say that in quotation marks because I highly doubt that project will happen. They're basically just moving dirt around. It's a $4.9 billion project. You can take a look at. See, this was from 2021. The cost has been upped to around $5 billion. 23,000 seat retractable roof NBA arena, the only retractable roof in the NBA, 2 hotels and a theater. And obviously, if they built that, it would be specifically to draw an NBA franchise. But T-Mobile Arena is beautiful. The Golden Knights, it's got an amazing exterior. And I do think that's where they would play. if they got an NBA team. It seems like a slam dunk, and that all-net resort seems like all talk to me. And then at number 1, it is Seattle, of course, getting the Supersonics back. Seattle tried when it looked like Sacramento was on the verge of moving with their horrible stadium back in 2011. It didn't work out. Of course, Seattle, losing the Supersonics. They become the Oklahoma City Thunder after Kevin Durant's rookie year. I think, yes, it seems like a shoo-in with the situation right now. Climate Pledge Arena, almost $1 billion in renovations, formerly known as Key Arena. They are the home to the Seattle Kraken. It is a state-of-the-art arena that would immediately become a top 5 arena in the NBA. So Seattle, based on their arena situation, Las Vegas, based on their arena situation, and Louisville, based on their arena situation. They all don't have to build anything new. You can go right in. It is a smooth transition. That is why those 3 cities, in my opinion, are at the top of the list. The only issue with Louisville, it is a small market, but I think that can be offset by the demand for a professional sports team. It's not like they have an MLB team. It's not like they have NHL, NFL. This would be, everyone would be watching the NBA franchise. So I think it comes down to these 3 cities for an expansion, with Seattle and Las Vegas as the 2 big favorites. Maybe you could say Hampton Roads, Virginia, based on TV viewership as an underdog potential. I really think Virginia, they have the population in their state to draw a team at some point, and somebody's going to make the jump, but I just don't see it happening with the NBA. Maybe the MLB at some point. And then when it comes to other possible cities like Vancouver or Montreal, again, it just seems like it wouldn't be smart right now for the NBA to split the fan base. Right now, you've got all those fans being, they're Toronto Raptors fans. It seems like you would just split the fan base and you really wouldn't gain very many new fans. I'm sure there would be a few new ones that come in, but it does seem like right now, if you are the NBA, the only real concern with Las Vegas is, can they really support 4 professional sports teams? Seattle, I think, is a slam dunk. They've got everything you would want. Maybe you could say another underdog is Pittsburgh, but I would be a little bit wary of them based on their attendance for the Pirates and how nice of a stadium PNC Park is. To still have that low of attendance. I realize the Pirates are a bad team, but it is something you're going to have to take into consideration. So guys, that is the current state of NBA expansion, with Adam Silver saying, listen, once we get all the deals, the TV deals, the labor negotiations, once those are all done, we go to 32 teams. That's when we talk about expansion possibly happening in 2025 or 2026. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.